Good morning, Year 4. Miss Bradford and I have been very impressed with how hard you've been working through your area questions, and we're really starting to see that you're understanding how to solve the area using your multiplication knowledge. Today then, we're going to carry on looking at area, so don't forget everything you've been learning, but we're also going to be moving on to perimeter now as well. So if you have a read through the example, it does explain what perimeter is, but the best way I always think of perimeter is it's giving you the distance all the way around the shape. So we need to measure each part of this shape so that we know the distance. So it's remembering the area and perimeter are different and the different things you need to do. So have a look through these questions really carefully today, because you need to think, is it asking you to find the area? If it is, what do I need to do to find the area? Or is it asking you to find the perimeter? So I'm not really going to go through how to find the area, because you can have a look back through the previous videos or have a look through your previous pages to see what you need to do. I'm going to try and focus on the perimeter today. So that is measuring all the way around the shapes, and they have been quite kind to us at first because they've given us the squares, okay? So let's start off with having a look at set A, and let's look at measuring shape B, because that's probably the more challenging one. So when we're measuring shape B, we're going to count the squares along the bottom. Feel free to write yours on the sheet. That's what I'm going to do with you this morning. So there's 2 squares along the bottom here. This line here would be 1. There's another 2 here. Notice how I'm measuring along. That's 1 square. 1, 2, 3. So you've got to measure each little part. Another line here, 1. Another one across here, 1. Another one here, 1. So notice how I'm going across each part of the shape that is exposed, and I'm measuring that. So now what I need to do is go along and add this. So I'm going to do it in my head. So 2 add 1 is 3. Add another 2 is 5, add another 1 is 6, add 3 would be 9, add another 1 is 10, add another 1 is 11, and that would be 12. Okay, so look at the shapes below. So we actually have to put them in smallest to largest, but I've already told you this one then is 12, okay? And I'm guessing it would be in centimetres, but we're not going to actually measure it with a ruler. We're just going to do it by counting the squares. Again, with this one, let's have a look at this one then. 1, 2, 3 along the bottom, 1 on this side, 3 on the top, and 1 on this side. If you need to draw these out, you can, because I understand it does look a little bit squished. So 1 add 3 is 4, add another 1 is 5, add 3 would be 8. Okay, I'm going to let you have a look at A, so then you can put them in the smallest to largest by their perimeter. You also need to do it by their area. So remember, with the area here, you do 2 squares multiplied by 3 squares. Remember, they're different things, the area and perimeter. Okay, so to go over perimeter a little bit more, let's have a look at question 4 here. So it says, find the perimeter of his shape. So Devin makes a shape below out of 2 rows of 8 squares. Each square has a width of 1 centimetre. That's always easiest, because then you just know that 1 square equals 1 because it's 1 centimetre. So this time I'm doing the perimeter, not the area, so I need to find the measurements of each shape. Well, it does tell me that there's 2 rows of 8 squares, so there's 8 squares along the bottom. It's my length, and my width is 2. I could do that by counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 2 along there. Now remember, if I was finding the area, I could just multiply those numbers, but I'm not. I'm trying to find the perimeter now. So I also know that this is 2. I also know that this is 8, because on a rectangle, opposite sides are the same length. Okay, so to find the perimeter of this shape, then I've then got all the lengths. I'm just going to put my whiteboard here. So I just need to add them together. So I need to do the 8, add 2, add 8, add 2. So I could do it as repeated addition. Nothing wrong with that at all. Or I could multiply, and this is how it explains it in the book. You could do 2 multiplied by 8, add 2. Nothing wrong with doing it this way if you find that easier, okay? That's fine. I'm just going to show you a few different ways. So if you've got this here, 8 add 2 is 10, 8 add 2 is 10. Add those together, we'd get 20. Or you could do it this way, 8 add 2 is 10, multiply it by 2 is 20. So for question 4, the perimeter of the shape is 20. Okay, so moving on then, the next question I wanted to have a look at is actually the following question, which is question 5. And it says, Devin adds another 2 rows of 8 squares to his shape. What is the new perimeter? So you need to think really carefully about what rows are and what columns are. Well, I can see that this is 1, 2 rows. So I need to almost imagine, and I could almost draw this on, that he's added another 2 rows. So for example, if I grab my whiteboard again, so this isn't drawn to scale, but already he had 2 rows of 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He already had 2 rows, and we've already worked out what that is. But now he's going to add another 2 rows. Just drawing this really quickly so you can see. So now we need to work out the perimeter, not the area, but the perimeter of his shape. So we've still got 8 in the length, which means that'd be the same. But now this has become 4, and this has become 4. Sorry, see that clearly? That's 4 and that's 4. So, again, we could use repeated addition. 8 add 4, add 8, add 4. Or we could do 8 add 4 multiplied by 2. Okay, so let's work out 8 add 4, which would give us 12. 12 times 2 is 24. Or I could do it this way. 8 add 4 is 12. 8 add 4 is 12. Add those together and I would get 24. So the perimeter of that shape would be 24. Have a go at that one. I know that's quite a challenging one because you've got to add quite a bit to it, but just have a go at that question. Okay, the next one I want to look at is from section B, so I'll just show you that now. And it's having a look at this table here, okay? Now, the important thing on this table is that we have to remember that we're finding the value of squares, and we spoke about this in the video the other day. And with squares, all the sides are the same length. So if the width of a square is 8 centimetres, I need to think about the perimeter. So feel free to use your square paper to help you draw it. I'm just doing it on a whiteboard today. So for example, if I had a square and the width here, doesn't look like a square, we know it is 8 centimetres, then all the other sides have also got to be 8 centimetres because it's a square. Don't need to measure them. I know that. So I need to add 8 4 times. Well, there's a much quicker way to do that. I could do 8 multiplied by 4, which is 32. So the perimeter here for the 8 centimetres would be 32. When it comes to working out the area, remember I need to do 8 multiplied by 8 because I can't count the squares because it's not been drawn, so I don't actually need these two. I just need to do 8 multiplied by 8, which is 64 centimetre squared. So that would be my answer for that one. So think really carefully about what it's asking you to do. Is it asking you to find the area or perimeter? Okay, so that was the one I wanted to go through on question B. I know I'm going through quite a few today, but I think we just need to go over some of these. You might want to pause the video at certain points, do some of the questions, and then carry on with me. So set C, I want to look at question 1, and it says a piece of fabric is 12 centimetres long and 11 centimetres wide, but it has a square with a width of 5 centimetres torn off. So we need to work out what the area of the remaining fabric is. Now, finding the area, usually if we had a square or rectangle, we just multiply the length by the width. But there's a section missing out of this, so it's going to give us the wrong answer if we just done 11 multiplied by 12. We need to then take off what's missing. So to do that, we'd start off by doing 11 multiplied by 12, which would give us 132. And then remember the question said that there's a 5 centimetre bit torn off, that's missing. So we need to take that away because if we was to keep that, that would give us the rectangle. 132, subtract 5, which would be 127. It's in area, so we need to give it in centimetre squared. Okay, so careful with those ones where they've got a little section missing. Okay, the final question I'm going to go through with you today then is question 4. So it says, on a centimetre square grid, draw a square that has an area of 6 centimetres and a perimeter of 10 centimetres. Okay, so you need to think about the area and the perimeter when you're doing these types of questions. So to start off for this question, I need to think about an area of 6 centimetres. So usually you multiply to find the area. So I'm going to think about all the different ways I can multiply to get 6. So 1 multiplied by 6 gives me 6. 2 multiplied by 3 gives me 6. 3 multiplied by 2, but that's the same. Nothing times by 4 gives me 6. Okay, so they're the 2 ways that I can make 6 through multiplication. So if I was to create a shape, I can either choose to do a shape where it's 1 centimetre by 6 centimetres. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm using the squares in my books to help me. Or I would choose to do a shape which is 2 centimetres by 3. So both of those would give me an area of 6. But it wants the perimeter, so the perimeter needs to be 10 centimetres. So I need to be careful now because I need to pick one of these. So I would just work that out. So if this was 1, this was 6, this was 6, and this was 1, and then this was 2, 3, 2, 3. Well, if I was to add these up, 6 add 6 is already 12. Add another one would be 13. So that is a perimeter of 14 centimetres. That is not 10. Whereas this one, 3 add 3 is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this one has a perimeter of 10 centimetres. So for these style questions, because there's another one you need to look at, think about the different ways that you can make 6 to work out that answer, okay? Okay, they're all the ones I'm going to go through today. There's lots of different style questions today, so just see how you get on. Do as much as you can in the hour. If you need any help with any of these questions, please message us on Teams or send us an email. We will be happy to help however we can.